As we've discussed, immigration has been a major theme of the 2018 campaign season.
This will be the election of the caravan.
These are rough people in many cases.
And as you may know, this week Trump's Justice Department took things a step further, asking the Supreme Court for an immediate review of its effort to end DACA. That's the Obama-era program that protects undocumented immigrants brought to the U.S. illegally as kids from being deported.
If you look at DACA, where he actually said, well, this isn't legal or this I can't do, but I'll do it anyway, and then he gets a judge to approve it, and it'll ultimately be decided by the Supreme Court, I hope quickly.
The Trump administration first tried to end DACA a year ago, but 3 federal circuit courts barred them from doing so. Now with appeals pending, the administration is looking to fast-track the ruling, which will ultimately decide the futures of more than 600,000 young immigrants. My next guest is one of them, and it's that uncertain future that inspired him to tell his story on stage.
Tossed out as if I were defective. How is my departure then constructive if my whole life can be relocated, decimated, dismantled? My woe deepens with the stroke of a pen. My livelihood should not have to depend on political trends. Police are at it again.
Writer and actor Alex Alpharaoh joins me now. He's recently awarded the 2018 Best Solo Performance by the LA Drama Critics Circle. His one-man show, Wet, a DACAmented Journey. It's about to start a 3+ week run at the Emerson Paramount Theater. Congratulations, and it's great to meet you, Alex.
Thanks
so much for being here. So the show, as I said, is about your journey. It began here as a 3-month-old from Guatemala, right?
That is correct.
And then what?
And then just living my life completely assimilated as an American. I mean, I was unaware that I was undocumented until I came of age, until I was 18 years old, and I couldn't do normal things like get a driver's license or a bank account or establish credit.
Do you mean
that
literally you were unaware that you were undocumented, or just not part of your consciousness?
Well, it wasn't something that was prevalent in my mind at the time.
So was there a moment that was it these things when you couldn't qualify for X, Y, or Z that it all of a sudden hit?
Yeah, all of a sudden I couldn't get a driver's license, and I couldn't get a real job, or I couldn't go and apply for financial aid so I can go to school. These were roadblocks and red tape that was not an issue when I was a minor.
So you were undocumented most of your life, not just your adult life, but most of your life.
Correct.
And then all of a sudden the DACA program came in. You applied, accepted, yes?
Yeah.
How'd that change things?
Oh my God, it changed everything. I'm here because of it, you know? I mean, to live in the shadows for 30 years of my life, and then all of a sudden to be able to become a productive contributing member of my society and my community. I was able to get a job. I was able to, get utilities under my name. Very basic things that the average American may not even take into consideration or give a second thought to.
How old are you now?
I'm 36.
So for 35 years and 9 months of your life plus, you've lived here. Are you an American?
I am an American in every sense of the word except on paper.
So how does that mess with your mind? I mean, I assume you sat in class next to kids that were exactly like you, except they didn't spend their first 3 months in Guatemala. They spent it in LA or wherever the hell they spent their time.
Right.
So what does that do to your...
Well, it's frustrating. It's frustrating that even though I'm completely assimilated, I understand the laws, the policies of the country. I speak the language, obviously. My daughter is an American citizen. Everyone in my entire family, from my parents to my nieces and nephews, aunts, uncles, siblings, they're all American, either through naturalization or by birthright. And I'm the only one that fell through the cracks, so it's very frustrating.
So does it make it harder or easier that everyone around you in your family, as you say, is a citizen? Is that...
Well, it's not something that we really think about, I mean, prior to me having...
But you're the outlier in that family.
I'm definitely the outlier in the family, but it also pushed me to work harder. It also pushed me to make a greater effort to work on myself. I was the first in my generation to go to college. I was the first to do a lot of the things that, my siblings and my cousins and even, my nieces and nephews have followed through with.
But you're not doing something today that virtually every one of your friends and family members who's 18 or older can do today. Vote. Yeah. How does that, I mean, one would argue, I think pretty convincingly, you're probably more affected by what happens today than I am. I voted.
Right.
You can't.
Right.
And what's that like?
Well, it's heartbreaking, because it's the one thing that I can't do. I mean, I can go out there and do my show, and I can, rally, and I can show up to protest, but the one thing I can't do is exercise my vote.
You know, when you were coming here today, I was thinking about that grotesque, racist television commercial that CNN refused to run.
Yeah.
NBC ran on Sunday Night Football, then said, aha, I had an epiphany.
Yeah.
I won't run. We know about the president saying, hey, forget the 14th Amendment, birthright citizenship. I can just do it with a stroke of the pen.
Right.
But on the other end of the spectrum, the most recent poll I've seen, 83-15, your fellow Americans say we do believe people who are DACA recipients should have a path to citizenship. So there are two sides. It's two Americas, essentially. Yeah. Do you feel like this is your country when you hear President Trump say what he says, and then on the other hand, you see a poll that says most fellow Americans want to have you be a fellow American? Where does that leave you?
Well, I mean, it's right along what I believe. I mean, my ideas is that, you know, anywhere else in the world that I go, the way that I show up in the world, the way that I view the world, the way that I interpret the world is through an American's eyes, and that's what I am.
What do we see in this play that won you huge praise in L.A. and elsewhere? No, I'm serious. What do we learn? What do we see?
Well, you know, because this is an issue that is so politicized, I think I've made an effort to just tell a story of humanity, tell a story about family, about love, about hope, about reunification, that home is where the heart is, and the roots that I have laid are in this country, are in Los Angeles, California. And so you see my journey of, if I do my job right and you see the show, then you're not going to think about so much about policy in the sense of you know, how difficult the politics have gotten and how complex immigration law is, but you're going to see a real human story about an American.
You say in a promo for this thing I was watching this afternoon, by sharing I'm exposing myself. And obviously, right, if Trump wins this DACA thing and then the program ends, you'd probably be near the top of the list. So why do you do it? I mean, it's wonderful that what you just described. I want to show a human face rather than this abstract policy face. But why are you willing to make a potential personal sacrifice to communicate that?
Because we're in a time in our lives where we got to go all in or not at all. And I don't want to sit 20, 30, 40 years from now when I'm in my old age and regret not having been active and not having done something about it.
How much of your life has been fear? I mean, I've interviewed mostly over there women who have gone to to ICE to just check in, to get their marriage certificate, to do what they've done every 6 months and been snatched away from their families. Their kids are living in fear. How much has fear been a part of your 36 years?
A lot of it.
How do you deal with that?
Turn it into art.
And it's great art from what I hear. I can't wait to see this thing. Alex, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you, too.
Thanks so much. The show, again, speaking of art, is Wet, a DACAmented Journey. You can catch it at the great Emerson Paramount Theater starting this Thursday. The show runs through November 25th. And for more information, visit artsemerson.org.